the traditional world, like if you are building a startup, before you reach like a $10 billion market cap, it takes you like 10 years minimum. In our scenario, it happened extremely fast.
How did you feel?
I never really got the time to enjoy that piece, right? I launched this fund, and then when the fund blew up, it became so big, then the whole of media is calling me, and I'm on media calls and this and that, and I have COVID also. Suddenly I realized that my breathing is a little bit odd. I can't breathe properly.
Sandeep Nailwal was born in 1987 in Ramnagar, a small village in the foothills of the Himalayas, India. He earned a degree in computer science and later an MBA in finance and supply chain management. His interest in blockchain technology led him to co-found Matic Network, now Polygon, in 2017. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Sandeep initiated the Crypto Relief Fund for India, raising over $100 million to support healthcare efforts. Today, Sandeep continues to lead Polygon.
I can't eat gold and diamonds in the lunch and dinner, right? I would say even beyond $10 million, there is no meaningful way the money adds value to you. First time in my life I was writing down my leadership principles. And to be honest, now I am at a stage where I actually want to actively recommend meditation to everybody.
Hello and welcome to Build It Up, where AI meets crypto, technology meets humanity, and East meets West. I'm Bill. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. My guest this week is Sandeep Nailwal. Sandeep is the founder of Polygon and one of the key innovators in the global blockchain and Web3 space. His story is truly inspiring, rising from rural India to become a leading figure in the crypto industry. Sandeep is widely regarded as a self-made icon in the Web3 domain. Sandeep, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Bill, for inviting me. I think this has been due for quite some time, right? Like, you and me discussed it 1 year back also.
1 quarter maybe.
Yeah, at least. And then we couldn't do it. But yeah, I'm glad that it's happening finally.
Awesome. Yeah. So you have been the legend in our industry for quite a while, and especially your background. You come from very rural India region, from nothing, and then you make a fortune, make a name. Could you share us a little bit background of your growth?
I've discussed it in many podcasts also. Before that, I was born in this small, you can say town now, like it's called Ramnagar. So it's basically
northern or southern?
Northern India, in Himalayas basically. So, there's a very famous Jim Corbett National Park. I was born in the base city of that. Base city is called Ramnagar. And I was born at home only because, at that time, hospitals and all that were not there that much. There's a funny story that we call it charpai. It means like the four-legged, like, kind of a bed, like temporary bed, the bed of wooden, all that. The bed on which my mom was giving me the birth, that broke while I was coming out.
Okay.
And also I was a breech baby. So, for the people who are parents already of kids, they know that the breech baby is where the head of the kid is up. Generally, when the kid gets born, the head comes first.
Yes.
But I came leg first.
Oh.
So, in modern medical science,
risky, right?
It's very risky because in the modern medical science, they will immediately do an operation. There is no way that they will do a natural delivery. But here I was at home, like, there is no ultrasound or this or that, right? So I came like leg first only. And there is a very funny thing, like, very recently when my kid was born, I was telling my mom that, he was immediately crying and all that. And my mom told me that when I was born, I was not crying for first 5-10 minutes. And she was telling me jokingly that the midwife or the house comes to the house. She's also illiterate woman, but she was beating me in the back and I was like blue. So, what she might not have realized that I might have been knocked out unconscious. Who knows? I was like, already lost my breath and, in that suffocation.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks like you have a very strong lung, to hold the breath in a sense, which saved your life.
I don't know, man. Off late, like, when Polygon became so big and all that, and I was like running around like crazy. And then in crypto, things happen very fast, right? So they don't give you like in normal world, when I say normal or real world, because crypto sometimes feel like it's not even real world. But in the traditional world, like if you are building a startup, before you reach like a $10 billion market cap, it takes you like 10 years minimum, right?
Yes.
So you have a lot of time to build systems, support, management, everything. Like in our scenario, like it happened extremely fast, right? 2020, we are like, or 2019, we are launching at like, $26 million market cap.
FDV,
on Binance Launchpad FDV. And then, by 2020, we are 200 million. And then in 2022 mid, we are suddenly like 30 billion. billion market cap, right?
So 30 billion was your all-time
FDV,
high.
FDV, roughly.
Yeah.
So it's 29.3 or something. So
How did you feel, by then?
very stressed, I would say. Like, I never really, kind of got the time to enjoy that piece, right? For me, I do remember when Polygon touched the $1 billion market cap. Right at that time, like I was like, okay, now I can say globally, like, in my life always that I am a unicorn founder.
Yeah.
I was very stressed, and because of this incident, like I recently found out that many times stress issues, anxiety, and this and that, anxiety disorder,
Yes.
and all that. So I even consulted a doctor and took some SSRIs and all that to for some time to calm down the anxiety.
That is when the price go up or when the price go down?
I know it's going up. I think like what happens is that when the price goes up and suddenly Polygon is everywhere and all that, you feel more sad and depressed when everything is already like going great and you have achieved something. Because your brain thinks like, okay, this is done. Like, okay, 1 billion market cap, 10 billion market cap. Okay, it's all done. What should I do next? Right? Like, and this happens like, for most of the startup founders who are constantly going bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Then the kind of the dopamine hit that you get from the achievements, your benchmark becomes very, very high, right?
Yes.
Like, when Polygon became this, Dolce and Gabbana did their NFTs. They invited us to their spring season launch and all that. There we saw celebrities and Vin Diesel and all these people. And then once you have done all of that, like, when you have not done, you think like, okay, that life, there is a hope that life would be very interesting.
Yes.
But once you've seen everything, right? You've seen some money, you've seen celebrities, you've seen big, like, media, stage, news, television, everything. Like, that time, even now, like, I'm on the news channels a lot, but that time it was like almost like a daily thing, right? And I would have like 20 to 25 calls in a single day. I still remember my EA messaging me or my chief of staff messaging me that today you have 27 calls fixed, but I have cancelled 9 out of them. So today they have only 18. And I was like, okay, this is great. Today I have only 18 calls, right? So, and you can imagine like average will be half an hour for those calls, right? So 9 hours I'm spending on call only. And then I have to do the other work also. So, I think that becomes very depressive beyond a certain time. So I would say that not at going down, going up was the, when it was going up, that was like, I felt very depressed and okay, what next? What should we do next, right? So that kind of situation. And then after that, like whole this 3AC, Luna, and then, FTX happened in 2022 at the end, and then everything went downhill. So, it gave, like the bear market also give you a time to breathe a little bit, right?
Yes.
So, in a
good way.
Yeah, in a good way, I'm saying, like, in a good way, but in a bad way also.
It's not very good to price.
Yeah, like that time was more depressive than the price was coming down, because when price was coming down, it was like a 1.5 years of situation and all that. And and we as founders, like, I don't look at the price every day. It's just that when you go to Twitter, you will see like what kind of reactions or messages you are getting from your tweets, right?
You don't have to look at the chart.
Yeah. If the comments are good, then everything is good. But because the crypto communities are very much about token price and everything all the time, right? So then I got, and I understood that, I'm having this, anxiety problem. I also had a panic attack, that I started that COVID relief fund for India. Then Vitalik donated Shiba Inu coin, like $1 billion of Shiba Inu coin. He thought that it will be $5-10 million, right? But then that became like a very big fund, like $474 million fund, right? So
sorry, what is that fund mandate?
The fund, it was like a COVID relief when India had a COVID wave. So I started a global fund.
Charity.
And then a charity, and a lot of people donated and all that. And that fund itself, like I thought that, okay, I will raise like maybe $1 million or $5 million, and then I will give it off to India, and then it's done, right?
Yes.
And then, like that became like a very big thing now. I still have to spend time on that. I am very lucky to have a very strong team now there who are running that part. But, and then, but still I have to spend a lot of time on that. So, and then around that time, I got a very bad panic attack.
During the COVID. So in the middle of the bull market, actually.
Yeah. April 2021. I myself had COVID at that time.
Yes.
I was going through this already, anxiety, this kind of scenario. And then
along with the price go up, right?
That time the price was going up.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, imagine like there is already like Polygon is a big beast.
Yes.
Right? Like everything is going great on Polygon, and we want to do next, what next? We get this, get that. And parallelly, I am having this, anxiety issues also. I am trying to take some medicine and all that. And parallelly, what is happening is that I launched this fund suddenly. And then when the fund blew up suddenly, like it became so big, then the whole of media is calling me and I'm on media calls and this and that. And I have COVID also. Suddenly I realized that, okay, my breathing is a little bit odd. Like, I can't breathe properly. And then like, the people who have seen a panic attack, they will know that suddenly the world starts crashing down. All that. I thought that I can't breathe because my COVID is now, I'm breathless.
Yeah.
So we called ambulance and this and that. Ambulance came, they checked this thing and they said that your SpO2 levels are 100. In fact, they're like, mashallah, in Dubai.
That was April, May of 2021.
Yeah, 2021. That was when the India Delta wave had happened.
So did you address this by medication or by, meditation or therapy, exercise?
You have to do everything, right? So, I mean, it has been a very long quest for me, I would say, since then. First, I went to the medicines, but I also thought that, okay, I'll do meditation. And I've been into spirituality for quite some time. And I did like proper, in India, they call it Brahm Gyan and all that. So, with the art or living, with like very hardcore spiritual organizations like Divya Jyoti, Jagran Sthan and all that. And even the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, you might know that in US is very popular. I tried everything and then, but I was not, I felt like I was a window shopper, right? I was never like, I never went.
You were selecting different approach.
Yeah. But I never really did any of the techniques for a long duration, like regularly. I was not doing regularly. I will do for some 15 days, I start feeling better and then I will not do it. And I was not doing a disciplined way. Your question that how did I solve it? I took the medicine, trying to do meditation and, kind of this mindfulness also and all that. And then I thought that, okay, let me do therapy also. So I tried to reach out to psychiatrists and all that, tried to do some therapy. There were multiple different kinds of approaches, right? A conversation and there is a tapping, I'm forgetting the name, behavioral, some sort of therapy, where you tap your, kind of when you go through the situations or things that are troubling you, then you tap yourself, self-gratitude, so many things. I tried. Only in 2024 February, I kind of landed into transcendental meditation, TM. Since then, I'm doing it very regularly. Probably it's one of the reasons is like, the coach I found there, and big shout out to him, John Bright. Like he insisted on me regularly doing it, right? So he will always check, are you doing it? Are you doing it? And all that. He even said that, okay, one time a day, I will come every day for free. Like he's an 80-year-old man and he just wants
to buy.
No, he's in Silicon Valley. But once a day, he comes by himself with him. Like he comes at 5:30 Dubai time. Like right now, we are recording at like maybe it's 4:30 right now, right? So I go on those meditations with him. And now I have got my whole family to do it also with me. So we in the evening, we do it together. And yeah, it has been a game changer. So meditation has been helpful. Therapy is extremely helpful. Like I have a very alpha kind of friend, right? Like who would be like, no, this therapy and all that, this BS and this and that. I was recommending him that, bro, you should do it.
Yeah.
And he do it. And I think like in today's date, everybody should do therapy.
Because the information is so overwhelming, right?
Information is overwhelming. Like, see, we human beings are not built for this level of distractions, right? Like, the level of distractions we have on our phone, Slack, it's been Telegram, WhatsApp, this, that, like, everywhere. And then you are on Twitter, you are on news, you are watching charts, this, whatever, like, the stock markets, crypto market, whatever it is. And there is too much distraction. And human beings are not built for this level of distraction. So it's very natural that our brains, we don't realize, but subconsciously our brains are overstressed.
Yes.
And it's very easy to lose or not see the simple patterns of life, right? Like very simple examples you can see. Like, I was watching some. And so many of these small things keep on coming to you when you meditate. You close your eyes for 20 minutes. You realize that very simple option, right? A very simple thing I would tell you. Like many times you are a founder and you are constantly worried about the cost. But then when you meditate, suddenly a very small pattern comes to your mind that, oh, I am in a growing market. This market is always going to grow.
Mm.
My biggest risk is I become an irrelevant player. I should be bringing as much growth as possible. The cost will be taken care
A
of.
very inspiring distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, you should have focused on the breeze, but in the end of the day, some distraction also give you a very good inspiration for your career and job, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah.
So it's very well said. Basically for a growth founder, the biggest challenge is not cost down.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, you might, because, like, for example, in AI, if you are there, right?
Yes.
If you keep worrying about the cost, and then the market is moving so fast, right? And if you end up in a situation where your product is subpar, you're going to get destroyed from the market anyways, right? So you're going to lose anyways. So it depends on which kind of market you are. If you are in Amazon kind of situation, right? Amazon e-commerce, the people are going to shop for next 1 million years also, right? Like, if the humanity lives.
Yeah.
So there you need to worry very much about these costs from any market which is already matured beyond a certain level. Like if you are building smartphones, you need to be worried about the cost. Like, depends on the market, mature market versus a growing market. If you are in AI and you are like, you raise $2 million and you want to keep the cost to like, 200K a year because you want to have, or 400K per year because you want to have 5-year runway in your bank always, right? And in 400K, you have like 2 engineers, right? And you are not able to build the product, you become irrelevant in 1 year. So you lost the funds of your investors, those $2 million also. And when the investors are giving you, VCs are giving you that money, they want you to swing big. They want you to deliver them 100x returns. They don't want you to like, okay, you sustain for 10 years and you delivered them like, 1.5x returns.
Yeah. So regarding the growth and the cost down, I think you come across the similar such a situation in past 2 years, when Polygon grew dramatically, and in the end, you also, began to have a lean team. Could you talk about, is it very challenging?
Yeah, it's a very reverse example that I just gave, right? Because that's the game of life. Like, there is no formula. Like, what I said, like, if you're a growth company, don't focus on cost. Like, that never works. Because like in crypto, for example, there is another variable introduced. That variable is the cycles, like crypto market cycles. What happened in 2021 when we were growing like absolutely crazy, every institution, brand in the world was looking to work with us and we need to scale. So we scaled very, very fast. Like we scaled from 100 people to 600 people in like 8 months, right? And we brought a lot of like people, because that time the pull of crypto was so much that everybody was leaving their Google and Microsoft and these kind of jobs and coming in.
Yeah.
And in crypto also, the cycle from 2017 to 21 was like, previously there was no like professional people in this, right? So we need to bring some more professional people into the into our company and all that. And Polygon Labs I'm talking about. So I brought those people also and all that. What happened is that the humans are still human. Crypto markets might move extremely fast, but humans, like, I did not get time to set up the culture, set up processes and all that before scaling. And then, it kind of became a very chaotic organization internally.
And also you have a very diversified team.
I mean, 45 countries, right? Different countries, how to manage the payrolls for 45 countries, those were a problem. Then also another big variable that got introduced in our situation was first this Terra Luna, kind of crash. But that was still like, that was a crypto level crash. But when FTX crashed, it suddenly became a global shame on crypto, right? Like, okay, like $8 billion of people are stolen, right? So suddenly already the markets were doing very bad. So all of the brands and institutions, that whole pressure that was coming into crypto, that whole floodgates were open. Suddenly all institutions, kind of dialed back on their crypto efforts. And we were like, so very heavy on the, global institutions, brands coming and launching on blockchains. And then, obviously we had to, like, the requirements went down after FTX crash. Suddenly, the whole market, kind of dried down in terms of the actual users or actual brands or institutions looking to adopt. So we kind of had to go through, making the team more lean and all that. And also you see 2023 marked the cycle where Fed started increasing the rates like crazy, right? So suddenly, like, nobody knew in 2023 that, for how long these high rates are going to remain. Everybody anticipated that first quarter of 2025, then the rates will start coming down, right? And you see, we are in May and doesn't feel like, the Fed is going to reduce rate even now. I think the markets are pricing like maximum 225 bips cuts, right?
Yeah.
Till the end of the year. So that time, so again, like we thought that, okay, let's reduce the cost basis a lot in 2023.
Yeah.
Yeah. But luckily we have been in we just like before that in 2021, we had raised like $500 million and all that. So we have very healthy treasury. And we could maintain, sustain everything.
Yeah.
Good.
And looking forward, Polygon has been through the highs and the lows, size up, size down, etc. For the future, how do you position the Polygon to the community, to the investor, to the users?
Yeah. So I think like more than those ups and downs, what Polygon has done previously is that, and that might reflect my personality also, that, Polygon tried to do a lot of things. I mean, it was important also like, to diverge, because when we started, we were doing this Polygon POS chain. It's a good chain. It works, right? Everybody is there. It's fairly decentralized and all that. But it's not like the cutting edge tech, because the crypto was all about like who's building the next cutting edge tech, right? So we had to also experiment and figure out our niche. And we thought that ZK would be that thing, right? So we actually acquired few companies. And then, multi-chain, ZK, then Maiden, Polygon ID.
That was 2023?
2021, 2022. No, not 2021, 2022. All the acquisitions, everything was done 3 years back only. Those kind of things happened. So there was an era of divergence. A lot of people started asking like, what exactly Polygon does, right? Like, okay, there is this one chain. Even now when people talk about Polygon, they're talking about Polygon POS chain. Now Polygon has ag layer product, but Polygon has Maiden, this, that, so many other things. That's why you see in the last 3 to 6 months, what I have done is like, that's why a strategic focus in Polygon, and then, what we really want to do and what's the main value we can add. So I've spun out most of these separate entities, right? Like Maiden is now out, Polygon ID is out. Before that, Avail was there. That's separate. So all of these are separate projects now. They can exist separately. Polygon will focus on what it does the best, which is ag layer and Polygon POS. Polygon POS is purely focused on payments. Ag layer is basically the interop protocol, a settlement protocol.
Okay. So could you please rephrase to explain to a very new Normie, what is Polygon and what is your vision in next 24 months?
Yes, not 24 months. Like the vision that I'm going to tell you is like next 20 years. Like, what I want to work on next 20 years is basically, see, for a Normie, like if I have to drill it down, like who's coming into crypto, all these blockchains are nothing but like computers. Like some computers have 100 transactions capacity per second. Some have 10 transactions capacity per second. Like Bitcoin has 7 transactions per second, right? Some computers have, 100. Some computers might have 5,000 transactions per second capacity. But those are still individual computers. What Polygon is building is this global trustless internet, that how these, different computers can talk to each other, but in a trustless setting. Like, this is not like internet where the computers can talk to each other, but they have to trust each other. In this scenario, you have in Web3, you are building trustless compute. So here, how those computers, these trustless computers, can communicate with each other and can work with each other in a trustless environment. So trustless, building the trustless internet, and all these chains, like individual, these computers are chains itself. For the end user, they should feel like one single chain. Right now, if a Normie is coming into crypto, he will be confused, like which blockchain I should go to.
Yes.
Like, should I go to this, that? Like I have $100. Which blockchain I have $100 on, right?
Yeah, which is funny because, in Web2, you don't need to care like, whether your TikTok is built on the Azure or AWS, right? But, in Web3, the users still have to learn, which infrastructure shall I run this application?
Exactly. And that is what's the goal of Polygon, is to make it like one single internet for all the chains together. That's why we call it ag layer. It's the aggregation layer, which aggregates all these chains together in one single layer. But how do you do it? You can't do it in a trustful way, right? Like, it cannot be like people have to trust ag layer. This is done in a trustless way using the Polygon's product called ag layer, which uses the ZK technology, zero knowledge cryptography, so that these chains can talk to each other while not relying on ag layer. This is like they are relying on the cryptography in between.
Yeah.
Right?
So for ag layer, on top of that, do you see Solana or Ethereum or Tron are your competitor, or are you all sort of counterparty you deal with in the future?
Like especially in the context of ag layer, Solana, Tron, like all these other blockchains, they are not the competitors anymore. Like, we are not working in that direction. We are working, like, I almost think of it as like a global settlement layer. Like, this would be something like what Visa or Swift might be doing, right? Not even Visa, like I should say, like, Swift basically, what Swift provides for the world, right? So basically a global settlement layer where you can bring in your own blockchain or trustless computer. You could be biggest of the biggest institution. You could be JP Morgan, you could be Goldman Sachs, you could be Reliance Jio, you could be ADCB or whatever, right? And then you all can connect into this internet, this trustless internet, where the money can flow from one chain, money or the value we save. This is the internet of value. One thing is also important to know, that the current internet that you see, internet of information, it makes information to move fast, quickly. What ag layer is trying to do is basically ag layer is trying to make value flow that easily and trustlessly, right? On the internet, I can interact with you via a chat engine, and I don't need to trust that, if there's somebody in the middle or not. I am doing a peer-to-peer interaction with you with the SSL signature and all that. Sure, there are Google and all that in between companies like that, but you can also have like completely peer-to-peer versions also on that. So what ag layer is building is the similar kind of thing for value. But I don't want to sound it like very abstract, but if you see, like, ag layer is not like a competitor, but almost like a counterpart of what internet is for information, ag layer is for value. That's what we are trying to. That's why I said, like, this is not like for 1 year, 2 year, like, this is a 20-year project. It's a long-term vision.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what I care about, right? Like, I mean, for me, crypto has been very kind to me, right? Like, I have some money for myself. My family is financially stable, this thing and all that. And beyond a certain amount of money, you don't, like, there's no limit. Like, you can be greedy and you can keep working for money. I don't care about money anymore. I mean, I'm not saying I don't care about money at all. I don't care about money anymore because I have enough. Because I can't eat gold and diamonds in the lunch and dinner, right? I would say even beyond $10 million, there is no meaningful way the money adds value to you. Maybe for some people, like, the jet planes can add some value. I don't think yacht adds any value. Like, I can also like hire a yacht in Dubai for 500 dirham or 1000 dirham and then, take a stroll around. Like, so I don't think, like, it adds any more value to this. For me, what I am working for is like, that impact, or like, when I am dying at 80 years of age or whatever age, I see that, okay, there is something that I did which people are using, right? Like, which has changed the society in some form. So
regarding, people used, I think, before we discussed about the payment, and looks like, from high frequency use case perspective, payment is very important as compared to, Bitcoin as a digital gold and also DeFi as a global, sort of exchange. What is your view on payment? And what is a Polygon, track record and the plan for the payment strategically?
So Polygon POS is one of the most dominant chains in payments. We last month, Polygon POS processed around $134 billion in the value exchanged. And I think there were like 66 million transactions, which actually Tron is known globally as in crypto, at least as a payments chain, right? Like there's a lot of payments happening. And we surpassed Tron in number of transactions. But the value is much higher. I think the value transacted on Tron is like 550 billion per month. And whereas for us, it's 134 billion. So it's like 1/5 of that. But in terms of number of transactions, which also tells you that there is a lot of retail on Polygon PS. Like,
how did you make it? How did you achieve, the surpass the Tron regarding the numbers of transactions?
Yeah, it's because of the focus, right? For last 6 to 8 months. And I think that's where the Polygon is a very changed protocol, in the sense that, we have a very clear strategy, well-defined strategy, what we are doing. Polygon is ag layer and the POS chain for payments, right? So we want to have payments on Polygon, which attracts a lot of liquidity. And ag layer is is the connective chain, and ag layer already has like a lot of chains, like, OKX chain natively settles on ag layer. There is like, this new DeFi chains launching on ag layer, and many other, like, top protocols, gaming protocols and all that they're launching. So they will bring in a lot of liquidity there. And so that's our core goal, is like, make the ag layer the best interoperability protocol. And then the chain Polygon PS, which is our legacy chain, is there, which focuses very heavily on payments. So how we achieve that, to your question, I think like, because of the focus, there is a lot of things happening. Like there is a lot of card issuers that have issued on Polygon. There is like, salary disbursement tools that are being built on. You might have seen like Stripe recently enabled all their stable coins and all that. So Polygon PS was the first chain which Stripe connected into, right? So there is a lot of volume from that also, and so many other things. So, generally in terms of the payments, a lot of games are built who take their payments. Poly Market, one of the biggest, it's the biggest crypto app in the world, right?
Yes.
And that is also built on Polygon PS only. And there are like millions of, transactions happening on the Poly Market itself. Similarly, there are multiple chains like Nexo and all that, where multiple applications which deliver a lot of transactions on Polygon PS.
Amazing. For the sake of time, I have one last question. Well, thank you for sharing, quite a few authentic moments for your past 3 years. And what would be your advice to a young generation, young founders or young generation who want to get into this industry? Because, you come across the success and also, most difficult moment. What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like like last 3 months have been really bad for the crypto, kind of founders, right? Like we have seen so many of these scandals coming out and all that. And now, so my current honest advice to the founders coming in is like, don't go to jail. Just stay out of jail. Don't do like this crazy stuff.
Don't go to jail would be the number one advice. Okay.
Exactly. And then, I thought about it, like actually, it's not the true scammers who go to jail, to be honest, in this scenario. I'll tell you why. Because in this crypto, my thesis is that crypto world, I think 50-60% are pure traders and, scammy people who just want to make money off of other people. They want other people to be the fools carrying their bag and all, whatever. Like there's like 50-60% of the people, okay? Those 60% of the people anyways don't want to build on anything. They are just traders.
Yeah.
Right? And they want to make money. They want to cheat retail, cheat other, traders and all that, and then somehow make money and go away. So these people don't even come in the front face. They will mostly stay in the background.
Yes.
And they never become founders also. Very few of them can become like shadow founders and all that. Then 10% of the people are true builders, right? Like who actually want to build some stuff. And, them, you don't need to give the advice. They're anyways doing some good work, right? This remaining 40% of the people, like 30-40%, right? These people in between, these people are the founders who want to build something. Like, they are not coming here to do a scam completely. They want to build a company. They want to build their venture. But when they come into crypto, they see all these kind of crazy buzzwords, right? Like this market makers and supply and this and that, TG, on exchange listing, all these kind of like, these big buzzwords are being thrown around to them by advisors. Like the crypto advisors who are advising them, do this, do that, do this, do that, like, telling them all sorts of crazy things, right? And this is when I'm saying like, I am also my advisor to a lot of teams, but then, I'm advisor on the tech side. But
you're one of the most active advisor.
Angel investor. I'm one of the most active angel investors, but yeah, I mean, I advise also, but advising on the tech side and all that, these crypto advisors.
Yeah.
Is basically like the TG, these days they are called TG advisors or GTM advisors, right? This kind of, whatever these names. So these people will advise them crazier and crazier things, right? So like, okay, do this, do that, go to this, apply to exchange like this and do all kinds of like crazy stuff like KOL round and all that. Now, what happens is that for people who don't get success, they don't have much option, but they keep getting frustrated and now they are desperate to do anything to reach to that level. One is that. The other thing is one who start getting some success. Now they see some success and then they now need even bigger success. Now they want to launch their token at 10 billion, $5 billion market cap, like big market caps, right? So they will then start resorting to extreme scenarios, right? These market maker, whatever, like pump and dump, models or the market maker agreements and this and that, like sort of crazy things they will start getting into. And then what will happen, sooner or later, somebody will blow up. And like, these kind of agreements, almost all projects will have, but then those people who blow up or that their projects who blew up or the tokens who blew up, suddenly they will come in the highlight and So my point is, what I'm trying to say here is that these 40% of the people who are kind of in the middle, who are not coming to do a scam, they want to genuinely build a venture, but then they come into crypto craziness. Some of them get desperate because they are not getting any success. They start doing crazy things. And some of them who start getting success and they don't have any hold, like where should I stop? Like they don't draw a line. These are the people who actually, then become, kind of Twitter celebrities for a few days, right?
Basically, your advice would be ethical discipline, right?
Yeah, you need to have some sort of discipline. Like, crypto markets are crazy. Everybody knows that. Everybody, acknowledges that these markets are, I call them pre-legal. These are not illegal markets, but they're pre-legal. Like the legal is not fully defined in these markets, right? And regulatory clarity is coming. Like, this stable coin bill is there. Hopefully very soon for tokenized, like, these token projects and all that, there should be some, regulation. And in absence of that regulations and all that, you should have some sort of self-discipline on yourself. That, okay, what I'm doing, will that stand in the traditional markets also? Will that stand as a legal thing to do, right? If not, like at least get a legal advisor for yourself, right? Don't get only PG advisors. Take legal advisors also with you.
That's a great advice. And I have a follow-on question regarding, you kind of achieve a good balance between work and the mental, physical health, right? So for this front, can you also share some advice to the founders and young generation?
Yeah, I'm like, actually this afternoon only, I was writing down, first time in my life I was writing down my leadership principles. And to be honest, now I am at a stage where I actually want to actively recommend meditation to everybody. Like in my team, if you want to work, I would always recommend them that, do this. Of course, I'm not at a stage where I want to mandate anything to anybody, but I definitely strongly recommend them, because what meditation does is that meditation becomes you self-reflective, self-aware. And then, even if like it can be a very small thing, like some people, like everybody who becomes, somebody in crypto and all that, those are all smart people, right? Generally. And they have high egos and all that. So they will get into every conversation trying to win the argument, right? And I am fine. Like I'm like, okay, you are like alpha people, right? You're the most smartest people. You want to win the argument. Good. Win the argument. Go ahead. But at least when you go back, when you are meditative, what you do is, even if you are by nature, you got into an argument, or there's a very strong and passionate position for you, you got into argument, you will still go back in your meditation and you will self-reflect on that. You will think that, okay, do I have some assumptions, or did I go too hard on this and all that? And this self-reflection is the cure to 90% of the problems, whether in your relationship, in your business, in your strategy. Because the biggest mistakes happen is you always have all the information. The biggest mistakes happen is as a founder, if you become a big founder, right? And then suddenly you are not connected to the ground anymore. So you don't have your first-hand data coming to you, and you stop listening to everybody around you also, and you kind of have all the yes men around you, right? And then you are not self-aware at this point in time. And what happens is slowly and steadily you go into a bubble where now you take some decisions which blow up your startup, right? So that self-reflectiveness of meditation is very, very important, being self-aware and self-reflectiveness. So I highly recommend meditation to people, and exercise also. I mean, I am one of the most, like I would say, laziest person. I don't want to do. I hate.
But now do you have your daily workout?
Yeah. Now I do daily workout, because only like recently, first time it happened to me that I didn't go to gym for 1 or 2 days, and I felt very lethargic. So I could
feel uncomfortable.
So that is very good state.
Yes.
You need to reach that state. But I have been extremely, lazy, like, because I used to work and study on my bed. So I'll just keep lying down, and then, on my laptop, I'm doing stuff and all that. So I never liked going to gym, but only in the last 1 year, like 2021, when I picked up TM, became more regular.
Sorry, 2024?
2024, last 1 year.
Yeah.
Regular to gym. Like my shout out to my friend Kenzie also, like, who is a very regular gym goer. So due to him, like, I am like, I feel bad now. Every morning I will see, even now, like every morning I see I think of some reason I should give to the trainer that I can't come today. But that guy is going and I feel really bad about myself. I said, okay, let me go to gym. So because of him, like, I frequently keep going to gym. So that's very good. Exercise and meditation is very good. Because, like, also one important part, like if you are going to remain a small time founder, right, then Then also meditation will help you. Like it will help you become like, see deeper patterns in your thought thinking, deeper patterns in the markets, deeper patterns in your business strategy, everything, right? But especially if you become a big founder, like your company ends up becoming very big, I think meditation will add huge amount of value. You will not even realize like the small things, small patterns that you will be able to see and detect. Again, I'll give you a very simple example. Like many times, so many things are going on. All the projects are big projects. This simple awareness that out of 10 big projects going on, because you tend to give, like if you are working 8 hours, right, which is like 8 hours is like 480 minutes, right? And for, you are doing so much of operational stuff and all that. So roughly you have like half of that, like, let's say 4 hours you are spending on these big projects and decision making. So 240 minutes and you have 10 projects going on. And so what you will end up doing is you will subconsciously, without thinking, you will end up giving them, all of them equal time, like 20 minutes and all that, right? So 20 minutes, let's say on average, 24 minutes to all the projects, like in this scenario. But you would, if you zoom out a little bit, you'll realize 2 out of those projects where you are deciding, let's say for crypto project tokenomics or your network design or how your network will look in 5 years and all that. This project is extremely high impact and you have to live with this decision, this project, whatever decision you take, you have to live for 5 years for this decision, right? 10 years for the decision. And any change is going to take you 2 more years to change the decision. So these decisions you should be spending disproportionate amount of time on these two, right? Which, I mean, I was very bad at those things. Like some people are naturally good at prioritizing. I was not. Like I am a very chaotic person that way. And I think like that part also meditation now helps me. Like I have now created a separate, I recently started a decision pit where I write all the high stake decisions, high impact decisions, high stake decisions in one single page. And I am writing why I took that decision.
Oh, okay.
Right. So that, but what happens in 2 years?
You yourself as a sounding board to you, right?
Correct. And what happens is sometimes even like I took one decision and in 2 years or 6 months, 12 months, something happened and that decision now looks like a wrong decision, right? And now you start as a founder again, like for your mental health, you start beating yourself up because all the decisions are yours, right? And you beat yourself, like, why did I take that decision? That was so bad, this, that, right? But if you have your decision log where you have written down these decisions for yourself, you can come back from future and come back in future and see that, okay, this is what I was thinking. I did consider, actually, I mean, why I say like this morning only, I accidentally opened my Google Keep, right? So Google Keep, previously I used to use Google Keep 2 years back for my, Google Keep is a, kind of a note-taking application. And then I saw like, okay, there's the decision-making table there where I had considered those scenarios that, okay, this, I should do this, I should do this, I should get this thing out of this and all that. And then I had ticked them that, okay, this is done, this and whatever I could do, I have done, the other party is not agreeing to this. But if I had not found this, I was thinking that I never even considered those scenarios. Whereas because there are like 20 scenarios I should have considered, right? So now by memory, I don't remember that, I did consider those 15 scenarios also. There were reasons why they could not be materialized. So decision making, it's much better because as a founder, you also don't want to regret. That regret kills you, from inside. So regret minimization, like Jeff Bezos also says, regret minimization framework. So I started writing these, kind of my decisions down so that I remember that why I took a particular decision and I did consider those scenarios. If I forgot to consider some scenarios, that means then I would try to build a framework around it, right? So now I have a decision-making framework also. Actually, a lot of it is based on Naval's theory, right? Naval says that whenever you are in a dilemma and you have to take or 1 out of 2 decisions, right? Or 3, you have 3 paths, you need to choose one path. Always try to strip it down to that, choose the most non-emotional decision. Just see, like, what is the most obvious non-emotional decision, right? Like whether I should do this deal or not do this deal. And you will be like, always like, if you think deep down, you're like, yeah, I like this guy who's trying to sell me this and all that, but I don't really need it, but this guy is so good. So he just says that just think and take the non-emotional decision. If the non-emotional decision, then immediately you'll ask your question, if I did not had this emotional part into this, the sales guy and all that, will I take this? Will I do this? And your mind says, no, I will not do this. Then even though it's going to be painful in the short run, take the decision that, no, I'm not going to.
To sum up, basically, your advice to the founders would be: one is don't go to jail. Meditation, not only for the healthy, but also, for the self-reflection and also for the better decision making, right? Yeah.
And the most important thing, I also said that, in crypto, have, as we say, self-regulation, self-control and self-regulation. That when you're building your startup, like even though there is like no regulations globally, but you should have your own set of regulations, that what is the boundary line, where you should not. Because in crypto, like I can totally understand a new founder coming into it, charismatic founder, he's raised some money, this, that, he's now picking up traction. And then, all sorts of crypto advisors come to him and then give him all sorts of crazy advice about how the token price and this and that. And then, they somehow lose track of where they come from, why they come from, why they are doing this. And then shit happens in that.
Yeah. And last part would be, the working hours and work-life balance. Because, I understand before you're a workaholic, right? And now, do you still very into, 18 hours work and the 20 meetings every day? What is your take on that?
Honest answer is there's no alternate to hard work. You will have to do hard work. But what kind of hard work is what you need to choose, right? So, for example, now if your company becomes bigger, if you are still taking, like, which mistake I still keep doing, by the way, I'm saying I'm still sometimes involved deeply in operations, in some sort of BD or growth and this and that.
Jump into very detail.
Yeah, very detailed part. Generally, I would say that you should try to avoid that, right? You should enable your team, to kind of completely let them, even if it is going to be painful, because some of the things that you built from scratch, they became big functions in your company now. Now somebody else is running and you don't agree with that. Your role moves to being a coach. No doubt you will still have to work very, very hard, right? But, but then that work should improve in levels. It should not be the same operational work that you were doing. Like build systems in your organizations, right? Like don't build for outcomes. Like, okay, there's some problem, this in HR or in finance, let's do this problem is solved. Don't do that. Build systems which can solve these problems in future by themselves, right? So build systems in your organization, not individually trying to solve problems. I'm especially now advising when you are at a slightly advanced stage in your venture. If you are like very early stage, you're still raising seed rounds and building the base pre-product market fit and all that stuff, then I think
you have to be the soldier.
There is no other option for you but to grind really hard. But as you grow, it's very important to understand that you need to change also. If you still are grinding, you will lose forest for the trees, right? You need to add like once your venture grows, you need to be little bit zoomed out and start training your mind into thinking bigger things, like how this looks in 5 years from now, how this looks in 10 years from now, and all that, instead of like being how things are going to change in next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months.
Yeah, awesome, cool. Thank you, Sandeep, for all the very authentic and touching sharing. Yeah, which is very insightful.
No, this is actually very good podcast also, Bill. Like I am actually sad that we did not book. We could have gone for 2 hours and this, right? Like, I mean, I'm sad that we did not book. I have like
we can have
other
season
stuff now. Yeah, we will. If some of your viewers like this,
yes,
then we'll do another one for this,
exactly.
right? Because these are, and especially focused on these. Yeah. It's like I didn't know. Like I thought you were going to take, ask very commercial or business or technical questions.
But we always go with the flow. Actually, it's a very personal.
And so your questions were very interesting. Your questions is actually not like, again, as I'm saying, like not how some problems are solved, but how basically your mind is behaving in that. Like how your mind is suffering. Like because the life is suffering, right? Like this, and how do you suffer through? And while still like try to minimize the suffering and increase a little bit of enjoyment because you want to go long term, right?
Yes.
So all these kind of like different balances of life. I keep saying like one single thing, that the game of life is built in a way that is 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 variable problem. There is no way that you can design your way out of it. And there's no formula to it, right? Especially the ventures I'm talking about. That's the game of life, right? So there's no formula, and all you need is some sort of these guiding principles which, keep helping you to minimize and focus your problem solving, your variables that you are taking into account into a direction which can take you to the next stage.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Okay, cool. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Well, that's all for today on Build It Up. We'll be back next week with another inspiring guest. Subscribe now so you will never miss our amazing interviews. Until next time, this is Bill. Goodbye and take care.